We're here in Basel, which is considered the cheap part of Switzerland. Which, if you're not a native Swiss like myself, it's pretty mind-boggling that a place like this could be considered cheap. But it makes the perfect setting for this new series. Now, for those who know me, you probably know that I've got quite the addiction for hunting down bargain cars. Not to flip them, not for profit, not necessarily for business, but purely because I want to drive as many random, slightly questionable, and often completely unnecessary cars as humanly possible. So I've decided to make a series. The mission? To find the cheapest possible car on the Swiss marketplace. Instead of blowing it up, destroying it, strapping a rocket on the back of it just to please the internet, I'll be doing something far more radical. I'll be using it as it's intended to drive. For this series, I've set myself a budget of 1,000 francs for every episode, and we're going to take that car on tour somewhere. I've fallen in love with some cars that most people will call terrible, but that's exactly what makes them so special, so unique. Everyone has at least one car that they adore that someone else thinks is a lemon, but that's just the charm of them. Modern cars are starting to feel more like AI girlfriends. Cheap to make, expensive to buy, easy on the eye, but at the end of the day, they all look like they came out of the same factory. This is our first feature car. It's a 1998 Fiat Palio Weekend with a 1.6 litre engine. It's reasonably good on fuel, below average acceleration, and screams at anything over 100 kilometres an hour, but it has a monumental amount of boot space. So it's almost small enough to be called a hatch and almost big enough to be called a wagon. So because it cost me no more than a weekly shop in Switzerland, let's just call it a steal. When most people think of Switzerland, they think luxury. Watches, chocolate, holidays in the Alps, lakeside villas, and cars. I think of bargains. The roads in Switzerland are littered with prestige supercars, high-end SUVs, shiny wagons, and top-tier saloons. Then there's the older stuff, still fine for day-to-day life, but just not so good to look at. Cars nobody wants, sitting at the bottom of the classifieds, waiting for someone like me to turn up with loose change, where after years of being ignored here, then they're shipped off to Africa or Eastern Europe, they're suddenly treated like VIPs, sometimes even washed. So far I've invested about 150 Swiss francs into this. A new battery, fresh motor oil, citric acid to flush the cooling system, coolant, and a new expansion cap for the coolant reservoir. Basically all the glamorous stuff you'll never see on Instagram or TikTok, but now it runs absolutely perfect. And one last thing before we set off, when or if I make it back from this loop, which I'm sure it will, I'm sure there won't be any issues, with a heavy heart, I'm going to be giving this car away for free. Like, subscribe, comment, share this video, and then I'm going to draw a name out, and then I'm going to announce the winner of this car on the next episode. So we've got about another 3 hours until we get to Torino. It's right on 7 a.m. now, and Jesus Christ, the traffic is starting to get hectic. But the car is doing so well. It's just purred the whole way down, albeit not as quickly as other cars potentially, but no, it's been absolutely fantastic till now. There's still another 800 kilometers to go, so we'll, fingers crossed. Things about arriving now down into the French part of Switzerland and really close to the French border is French drivers. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've just had beaming headlights in my rear vision mirror for the last half an hour driving down towards Lausanne, and it's a little bit distracting, I would say. Can't believe how perfect this weather is for this drive today. I mean, the weather's been so, and then today is literally not one cloud in the sky, nothing, and the views just go on for miles. It is so beautiful down here. Can't believe I haven't spent more time here. It's insane. We're just coming to the bottom of the San Bernardino Pass. The car is still going so well. He's just been almost floating on a cloud. It's been so good to drive. We're about an hour and a half from Torino, so yeah, it should be interesting once we get there. See what the traffic's like, see how the car performs in the city, and then off to Milano in the afternoon. So it looks like they're doing quite a bit of work on the autostrada around this area at the moment, so it might actually take a fair bit longer than I first expected to get to Torino. I mean, I don't mind. I like it's funny. This is like, it's the first time I've driven a small car that I've been able to sit in it for more than 2.5, 3 hours without getting a really sore back or a sore ass. I mean, this thing is just so comfortable. Although it hasn't hit the high temperatures like it's supposed to yet, so we'll see how it goes after that. I think it's supposed to get to like 29 degrees where we're going to be today, so that will also be a good test, because although this has air conditioning, I don't think it's working as well as it could, and it's definitely not working as good as the air conditioning that I've got in my van. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Well, onto the autostrada I go. I didn't actually mean to turn into here, but now it's some dickhead bus driver behind me that was driving like a maniac, and I got a little bit overwhelmed, so to say, and I took the wrong turn. So it looks like we'll be taking the autostrada, which, yeah, it might not be too bad. It seems like we're coming to a petrol station, so I can finally get that coffee. It's only been 4.5 hours. So a little bit of a fun fact for this particular model of the Fiat Palio. It was the very first Fiat designed specifically for global markets outside of Europe. So a little bit of a quirky addition to that. In Brazil, the Palio Weekend was nicknamed the Weekend Adventure and sold with factory-fitted plastic body cladding, roof racks, and even a spare wheel mounted on the rear hatch. Basically trying to be a baby SUV years before crossovers were even cool. So while in Switzerland it was just like a small family wagon used to get to and from grocery stores and also to take the clan to raclette and fondue expeditions, in South America it was actually marketed like a rugged off-road explorer, which to me is just mind-boggling. I mean, I don't even think it would be able to deal with going off-road on these gravel paths that you get in Europe that you're not even allowed to drive down, let alone... I mean, I've never been to South America, but I'm sure the terrain and the off-road trails are a lot more hectic than they are in Europe. Oh, we made it. In Torino. I've always said, if ADHD was a country, that would be Italy. It's like half fit all over the place. Roadworks that have been going on for years, unfinished. It's hilarious. So we made it to the Fiat Museum. I managed to get the central locking in the Palio to work as well. So we're coming inside to have a look. I don't seem to see any Palios in here, which is a bit disappointing. But maybe they feel that it's not worth being in a museum. I don't know. I beg to differ. Now this is something that I reckon would be nice. It's so ugly. All right, let's go upstairs. Maybe there's some more early 21st century gems. I'd go as far to say it's pretty disappointing. I mean, I expected them to have a little bit more history maybe in this room. It's like, it's not even that big of a hall, but there's no Palios. Let's call it a day here. And let's go off to Milan and see the fashion capital of Europe. Palio was Fiat's first attempt at a world car. In Brazil, it ran on petrol and alcohol. In India, it was sold as a 1.6 litre GT. The locals called it the Ferrari for the poor. So depending on where you bought it, you either got a sports car, a biofuel experiment, or just a family wagon to haul groceries. Believe it or not, Fiat actually entered the Palio in rally competitions in South America. I mean, imagine turning up to a rally with your shopping still in the back expecting to win. The Palio has a very odd safety record. In Latin America, it scored 0 stars in all crash tests. But in Europe, it was considered safe enough to take your kids in. So apparently, whether you survived a crash or not depended solely on the continent that you bought it in. Behind me is San Siro, where most players make more in a week than we do in a year. And what do they usually buy with all that money? Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bugattis, all the flashy things money can buy. But why bother? For the price of one of the lug nuts of one of those cars, you could buy one of these. A Fiat Palio seats the whole squad, is good on fuel, and you don't cry if you ever get it scratched. Honestly, forget the supercars, forget wasting all that money. The real Milan signing should be this. Day 2, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're off to St. Moritz for some luxury. So, we made it back. Despite its age, it's been thoughtfully designed and built to last. And somewhere along the way, I think I've fallen for it. It's comfortable, reliable, and it does everything that it says on the tin, without needing a trust fund to keep it running. So if you're after something that proves great value doesn't need a badge or a brochure, this little Fiat might just be the one. And if you want to make it yours, comment your name, subscribe to the channel to make sure that you catch the next episode, where I'll be announcing who will be taking home my new favourite car.